Hello there everyone and welcome back. It's time to mix things up with something different since I did play with Tau the past few episodes, and even then I would like to experiment more with the Cao Yang style, at least with the light cruisers and the custodian, since it's a nice refreshing take to at least the 6 cruiser type of fleet that is kind of most prevalent, I want to say, with the Tau fleet. Hell, I wanted to go so far as to say the merchant fleet utilizes that too. It's probably their most successful fleet. They just don't have the points to allow for a frigate, since I'm pretty certain every single one of the cruisers are 200 points, mainly because they have the additional health. Well, that's not true anymore. The Fast Yaw here, which does have lower crew complement, that's the important factor, does allow for at least a frigate or two. So maybe that's gonna be still the prevalent type of fleet for both the Protector and Merchant fleets. But with that said, let's play with some Tyranids. I've been feeling the itch to play with our everyone's favorite space titans, everyone's favorite space whales, so why not do it some more? In this case, I think I'm just going to play around with the Massive Claw type of fleet, and I'll jump on over to maybe Pyracid since I seldomly even use that fleet anymore, mainly because it was so predominant for everyone else, just because it was definitely overwhelming to your opponent, it seemed like anyway. I don't know what exactly changed, if I were to be honest, when it was buffed to everyone going the Pyracid type of fleet. Since it seemed like they just allowed more critical hits, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to double check the patch notes, because it's not like they increased the critical hit chance. It may have been just a bug being fixed that denied Pyracid to be so predominant, or at least so impactful. And even then, I enjoy my, well, I'm kind of a little bit biased towards, was it the Strangled Tentacles and just boarding torpedoes, since that's the fleet I played with ever since Armada 2 was released, at least for the Tyranids. So, expect that in the future soon enough. But with that said, let's see if there are any unfortunate players to devour. Alright, Orks. This will be a nice close-range slugfest. It's just a question on who gets the better engagement, I suppose. That's assuming my Ork adversary is utilizing Mega Cans, and since I don't recognize the name, let alone the fact that they're using the Death Skulls, is it? I'm pretty certain it's the Death Skulls, dang it. You would think I would notice since I recently played as Orks with that sub-faction, but either way, things will come down heavily to, again, the engagement. Mega Cans versus my Massive Claw, since after all, even though I do better damage head to head, my claws don't really do critical hits, and outside maybe the 400 points threshold I think it is, that kind of forces a critical hit on the ships. Whereas the Mega Cans, especially with lock on, are gonna do a notable amount of critical hits on me, especially on my light cruisers, and the Krakens at least won't have to worry about that. But it's like my Devourers and light cruisers, that's a different story. Now, that's not exactly the fleet I want. I'm gonna have to fix this. I accidentally put part of Group 2 in there, and you are Group 4. I'm trying to remember exactly how this fleet functioned, or at least how I grouped it. Okay, I think we're good. I think I have it sort of figured out. There's a lot of moving pieces to this fleet, so I don't expect this to go well, but I do have drones to grab points, and it is a question of how do I go about grabbing this other point, or if I even grab it at all. And I want the flagship hanging back as much as possible, because it is likely to get sniped, even with the Void Lurker to help. And I want Krakens to take point, because they're kind of my spotters, they absorb damage really well. And I am reload stance, so hopefully I can benefit off their absorbing the shields really well here. But I am going to have to keep an eye when they have the possibility of Disruption Overcharge, though. Because the Spasmic Regeneration, what is it? Spasmic Incretion, rather, is not going to benefit me at all if they can permanently keep my shields down. And we got ourselves a nice little pyramid here. That's interesting. I'm wondering actually if I destroy the weapons on this thing. We have a beacon. I'll get to that in a moment. And I think that's flying towards the middle objective. So let's keep that in mind. Let's do ourselves a hard turn to the right. And I gotta remember, I actually avoid damage in the asteroid belts too. And these are only frigates. Only 2 frigates of note. We got 2 carrier ships. So they have a lot of vision possibilities here. Main thing is to take my time. And unfortunately, with the fires going in the gas cloud, I can't tell what their current direction is anymore. Which is going to be really annoying. And I do have solid rushes, but I want to try and keep that to a minimum, since you never know if my opponent can hear them. And that is something any opponent facing off against Tyranids should be trying to take advantage of, whether they can hear them or not. It's just the inconsistency that annoys me the most, if I were to be serious. Just because of what I just said, I don't know if they can hear it or not. So even though I don't hear it, they are probably abusing it if I use it too much. And in fact, I may want to go destroy those frigates. And I don't have the chameleonic skin, which is something that annoys me a bit. I like that upgrade a lot. And I'm choosing not to utilize it for maybe faster critical hit regeneration. Which may be a mistake. I won't lie. And I did a terrible job paying attention to when the beacon cooldown comes off. But if I can engage with the majority of my fleet, that's pretty good, and I have spore fields.
You have seized a strategic area.
Okay, we turn these guys around. Sadly, I have not been paying too much attention, but they all have carrier ships of sorts.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
That's all I can decipher here.
A strategic area.
Alright, I think we're in the clear until the next ship. Until the next fighter squadron, that is. Now, let's get ready to make a panic. And that looks like torpedoes, keep in mind. And conveniently, those 2 are going to get slowed. That is rather damn convenient. Yes. And you're going to do very little damage. And also, let me actually change the engagement range, because that's going to be a factor. Doing noteworthy damage. It's going to be a little bit awkward, because the AI is a little stubborn on how it controls. That's something I'm just starting to remember utilizing this fleet. But it's going to be a nice munch fest. So long as I don't ram myself too much. And keep in mind the flagship. Be wary of when it might die. And these brutes, these savages aren't a big deal. Ram it. Ideally, don't ram yourself. Be ready to use your Void Lurker after these ships get obliterated, because damn is it doing work. And these 2 ships are going to munch everything. Where's my flagship? It's hard to find it in this mess. Oh, I don't want to use my rush because my flagship's disengaging is because of that. Accidentally have it disengaging. And that was a bad rush. It still has plenty of health, but it was a bad rush on my part. Oh, I thought I told you to rush, dang it. Could be latency that messed that up some. Alright. After the flagship, everyone. And keep it... Oh yeah, my flagship's the one currently going after their flagship. And thankfully I was too close to their torpedoes, which is a nice treat. And with the spore fields, they are pretty much dead. Yeah, this is a damn simple fleet, isn't it? It's amazing when it works properly, I guess it could be said. And I can regenerate the crew real easily, despite all the boarding we just took. Now I just gotta get this fleet to cooperate is the main thing. And what do you have exactly? Just Strangle Tentacle. So you're gonna have to try and kill this fleet off for me. Otherwise, how's your crew? 11 of 12. So I'm just gonna regenerate now before I forget. Because that's gonna be a factor. This is already over. I don't know what to say. This has been a complete and utter stomp. For something that's really simple but really damn enjoyable at the same time. Because there is enough complexity to it with the Shroud field, or the Shroud effect, to keep my interest, as weird as it may sound. As weird as it may sound. And I conveniently dodged those torpedoes. And I have shields. I was gonna say, if I can get away from his prow and weaponry, then I could have just devoured it slowly or dissolved it slowly with the shields itself. There's a lot I'm gonna have to reacclimate myself with. Although I do feel bad, they are a newer opponent and that did not seem close, did it? In all honesty, how would that have played out with mega cannons? Because again, since I was engaging in a prow, because that would give them the hardest time getting rid of me, at the same time their mega cannons would very likely destroy my massive claws at a certain point, and then suddenly I'm doing more damage to myself via the ram than my opponent, which is something I need to be very aware of, and that can very easily be fatal. And at least with the flagship, it's important I watch that because they have the Void Lurker to at least get out relatively quickly, if that were to happen. Especially if I can notice that's only a temporary damage as opposed to a full-on permanent destruction. Then it could just jump out, let the regeneration kick in, and look for a window to jump back in. But damn it, I feel like an awful person. That was way too straightforward. Alright, let's try this again. I'm going to hope that maybe my opponent knows what, or at least learn from their experience, since I'm pretty certain if this makes it on the YouTube video, the previous match I had with them is not going to make it on, since that was unfortunate. They were a level 1 opponent. They kind of forgot their skills and upgrades, and this is a terrible fleet to try and give them a good time, maybe. But what I am going to do is try and go a little bit easier on them. At least so I can practice a couple of ideas. Yeah, the unfortunate truth, my opponent forgot their upgrades, they forgot their skills. So hopefully they can learn from that. I would like to feel like I'm not scaring people off, because that was a devastating defeat for them. Now, with all this talking aside, let me try and get my groups organized quickly. And let's see, group 5. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be quick here. Where's my drone? I want to try and help them out. Simply put, and thankfully they have been playing some Tyranids, I guess. And, well, let me get my thoughts collected. From what they utilized before, it was a battleship, 2 dictators, and I can't remember what the other cruiser was, but apparently they have more ships this time. Gotta keep an eye out for anything. It was a pre-made fleet, if that helps any, with deciphering what they were actually utilizing. But I don't recall there being any light cruisers. Now let's just avoid the beacon. I do need to watch for fighter bays. And grabbing this objective actually is going to be annoying, because it's positioned in such a way that that beacon is going to cover my vision quite well too. Speaking of which, alright, so I can dodge that beacon really well. Alright, so maybe I can go straight through to an extent. There is going to be fighter bays in my way though. Who am I kidding? Let me play the long con. But the theory, what I was trying to practice is having my fleet come in waves. The Krakens are kind of sacrificial ships, because they can slow them down really nicely and burn a lot of their combustion gauge. I don't know if my opponent heard that, so I'm going to be loads to try and take advantage or use that often. Oh, and I might get spot here if it stops. Keep an eye out. Nope, my Kraken should not get spotted, at least, so I have that going for me. Now I'm all over the place today. It's been a weird day, mostly because I've been busy with snow removal this morning, and I'm probably a little bit exhausted. That's me coming up with excuses, though. So let's at least try and put a real effort in. Although, I did a terrible job watching for fighters. I know there was at least one fighter squadron. I just don't know where it went. And they're going to likely launch a fighter squadron over there towards the second beacon I'm capturing. And I have chameleonic skin, so I'm going to take advantage of it. Well, that works out some. Not much, but it works out some because... Let's see, I have chameleonic skin again, so that helps a little. And I should be able to survive this Nova Cannon shot. Can I kill this frigate? Because I'm going to have the Spore Field to help give me hit in. We're going to have these ships move in, although there are fighters in the way, so let's keep that in mind. And I'm actually going to dodge the Nova Cannon shot really well. So that works out well enough, I want to say. I think they only have one other frigate left, which conveniently is right here.
You have seized a strategic area.
Yes, run from me, because it means I get to ram you some more.
You have seized a strategic
And I think what I'm going to do, if it's at all possible, is try and have that ship try and grab the beacon. It is a sacrificial type of frigate, but it does so much for me. If... Well, I wasn't expected to die immediately, but did not grab the beacon. And the flagship's going to get revealed. Okay, it stopped at just the right time. And keep in mind, I can also recharge my... I'm losing my train of thought because there's a lot of moving pieces going on here.
You have seized a
Oh, I actually did
strategic
get the
area.
objective, luckily. Just barely. But luckily. Now, what the hell was I playing? Oh, just trying to murder this poor fella now. I am a bit concentrated, all clumped up, so I need to use that to my biggest advantage. This, as far as my opponent can tell, is the scariest thing coming at them right now. So, imagine the surprise when they try and run away to this other fleet. I just need a Spore Field to make this less appealing a direction to run. Now, rush in? Okay, they did have light cruisers. I forgot if there was any light cruisers or not, but... I sadly had to miss that ram horribly. And let's see. Okay, you have access to everything. Or well, you can access to the Rad Storm really early, so I don't think that's an issue. And now, with my opponent just not... Dang it, I had to miss that again. That's a shame. But with that said, let's kill these off. Just get into engagement range, and I gotta remember I'm not actually set these to melee range, which is a bit of a failing on my part. Prioritize the ships, let the Spore Field do its thing, and enjoy munching on a bunch of their ships. Because the damage is being done already, good god. This is already over, but it kind of was over as soon as I got in close range. Since I probably could have demolished this fleet just based on my boarding ability alone.
Accumulated 50% of strategic points.
I still feel bad. If only they knew. If only they knew. Although they forgot their upgrades. They got their skills, they forgot the dang upgrades. Which I'm trying to remember. Do they get Disruption Overcharge really early? I can't remember. Do they have to level up for Disruption Overcharge or not? I, for the life of me, cannot remember. I think level 2, level 3, level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so they do get Disruption Overcharge right away. Of course, my opponent may not have known that, but still. That is really damn important for chipping me down. And like I was trying to tell them, Mechanicus can be one of the more difficult one of the more difficult factions to play as, because you rely so much on those Nova Cannons doing the damage, or at least giving you that breathing room with the Eye of the Omniscion. Since you don't have torpedoes or the ramming potential of Imperial Navy, never mind the fact your ships are more expensive. So, you need those Nova Cannons that would do work for you, or you're probably just screwed on both hit point pool from having less ships, or from, well, just low crew count in general. Ooh, this is going to be interesting now. We are playing against Drukhari, an opponent I still don't recognize so much if I were to be perfectly honest. But now, I'm going to have a hard time chasing him down, I suppose. Which gives us a little bit of a challenge here. That's all I have to say to our Drukhari adversary. They may not be very fattening, but they're still going to be a tasty treat, I suppose. Now, let me remember my groupings, and how I play this has to be completely different. I want to say at least, let's see, group 2, group 1, okay. Because I do need to stay grouped. I just don't know what to realistically expect. They do have the ability to keep my shields off, but what alternatives do I have? I think I want chameleonic skin. I want to avoid unnecessary critical hits, or at least having my components back up, but in all honesty, if they commit to anything, my prow is basically dead before it even gets to regenerate, I feel like. So probably the best I could do is probably threaten to attack them from any angle. Maybe. We'll see. Actually, let me just have this in this group. Just make it simpler. I don't know how exactly I'm going to go about this. Well, let's see.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
This looks like the usual. Nope. This isn't all battleship type of fleet. There's like a cruiser, a light cruiser of some kind if I had to guess. I just haven't done a good job checking speed. Now where's our flagship with that said? So I am going to have to spread out some. And I have to be close enough to get her that I can threaten to bash them at any point. Hell, I have an easy way to deal this. Let's sacrifice a frigate. It works. It can work well. I just gotta make it on point in grabbing it.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Because if this messes up, then I'm basically spying the rest of my fleet.
You have seized a strategic area.
Now, there. So, you know where I'm hiding? At least you know where a ship's hiding. We're gonna have to see how this plays out next. And actually, I might have that light cruiser go and grab that point. And what I suspect him to do is... the beacon's still up. Oh no, never mind, it's gone. And they have torpedoes, interestingly enough. Alright. That is good to note. Come on, let me munch on you. Actually, let me actually gnome on you, although that was kind of the wrong ship I should have gnomed with. If I were serious. Since, after all, it would have helped me a lot with one that can actually have rushed. And I am... yeah. I was gonna say, maybe I could have silent run with that, but it was marked. So, can't rush just yet. Did take some torpedo hits, but I'm hitting. Now, just gotta somehow follow up with this. Which thankfully is helpful there. Because you're burning all your torpedoes. Actually, I am going to use my flagship as a bit of a bait here. Grab some objectives. Since I didn't do nearly as much damage as I would like. Okay, flagship's there. And I'm going to use this ship to kind of as a bait. Sadly, that did burn to death. And I am going to get spotted here, so be careful. I can hunt them down. Although I was kind of hoping for the rush to do something there. And sadly, I missed completely. Which isn't too bad here, I suppose. Because this might be able to hide. I'm waiting for my rushes. Nope, can't. You wasted your torpedo in a spectacular fashion. So that's going to take a lot of damage at least, so there's that. Can I do more? Because my ships are not doing a good job hiding themselves right now. Alright, we got a battleship there. Those ships are hiding. And if I could get a good ramming, that'll help a ton, but the broadside ram is not doing me much good. Yeah, and I did bad with my engagement as well. Dang it! Oh, you're burning retros. That explains why you're having issues there. Alright, thanks for burning all your resources there. Because I can hopefully kill you, but... yeah, that's pretty much dead. The cruiser's about to die. Well, it was about to die, but now I'm at risk of losing it, but... I still have Devours. You did not get hit by a torpedo at all. Let's see, more torpedoes of note. Can I actually kill this thing right now? Because it is using the full reload potential.
You have seized a strategic area. The enemy has seized a strategic
And sadly, the flagship's dead.
has accumulated 75% of strategic
So that doesn't do me a lot of good at the moment.
5% of strategic points.
Unfortunately, I'm probably going to lose this just to being a little too aggressive, because now my prow is also dead. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Fire is not going to work very well there. If I had got them surrounded effectively, that would have helped a ton, but maybe I got too aggressive for my own good. I don't know what you're talking about on lag. You're the server host, which is kind of interesting, but I messed up there a tiny bit. Because ideally, the best case situation is to have them kind of boost into
The enemy is close
my
to
other
victory
portion of
by
my fleet.
strategic points.
And with them having no fighters, I shouldn't have had too much of an issue. Keep in mind, they also had no frigates. So, I missed out on a couple of rushes as well, which could have made the difference. Alright, let's give this one more try. Because victory was pretty close. If I can effectively slow them. What I'm hoping with the Krakens is maybe it burns the slow effect on the Wraithbone shift. I just can't carelessly rush forward because I'm going to need that to chase after them. Is what I think, and my Forward Lurker is pretty damn important as well, but if it gets isolated, that's a bit of a problem. And I want to say my opponent had Disruption Overcharge. I want to say... how do we learn from this? Well, really, I know my opponent's going to try and grab points behind me, but if I can effectively grab their fleet and dismantle a large portion of it, then I have a lot more control to play with. Because their firepower drops drastically if they don't have the numbers. Just gotta keep in mind that they are utilizing the faster rate of fire for their abilities, so that's gonna be a factor. I want the spore field to work. It's not realistic though, is it? I don't need the beacon. They do have low morale. So maybe I can force a mutiny of some kind there, but I'll stick with the spore field for after they burn their Wraithbone shift. Because what I expect is going to happen is they're probably going to go after this frigate here. So I want to kind of be ready to grab that in some form if they go for it.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Sadly, they're hidden. We know there are beacons at play. And I don't think I heard rushes, so... where's that going? Okay. we're gonna go that way. Maybe the idea of grabbing the beacon. Well, grabbing the beacon's not a terrible idea. But I could just avoid this beacon altogether, so I don't think I'm worried in any sense. And actually, let me turn off all my ships at the same time. And have it override from trying to go around the dang celestial body.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
And another factor would be, how can I grab 3 points? I don't think there's a way I can grab 3 points. Nope, that wasn't what I wanted. But we'll see where they go. I want to say they're coming over here, which doesn't help my one frigate. But it can spot them, it can kill some of the crew. And we'll see if my opponent decides to go after the bait or not. Although, what is it with me and missing my rushes? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But they are hitting.
You have seized a strategic area.
There, we got some hits there at least. And sadly, I did fly into the beacon some, which is a bit of a burden. And sadly, the flagship took torpedo hits from random stray fire too, so there is that. So let's try and grab the objectives then. Force their hand a tiny bit more. Not make this be a lucky streak of theirs.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
There is again, missing the goddamn rush. So that's unfortunate. But they also did burn their abilities some. So I can hide, I can chase to an extent, although I'm not doing a good job here. Wraith Bone Shift was spent at least. Not gonna get the Massive Claws, but the shields are hitting. There is always that. And if possible, try and have this ship also jump them, because you know the flagship's about to get hit right now.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Alright. Let's try and murder these fleets, because I'm doing a terrible job right now. So I do have my jump ability. My foil lurker, rather. Now, trying to see where the flagship's hiding. There you're hiding. I'm doing a terrible job controlling this fleet again. Now to actually have to put some effort into it, huh? But let's see. We did not kill the ship, I'm pretty certain. I did probably a terrible job with that part. But Let's force my opponent to still try and work for this. So that frigate's sadly gone. I still have a handful of objectives still. And I have a massive claw to munch on you. I'm just again doing a terrible job of controlling this fleet. And I feel like I'm doing a terrible job of that.
Accumulated 50% of strategic points.
So let's get everything going. They took a lot of damage. We're about to have a third objective. And I could possibly finish them off. I just actually need to be ready for them
You have seized a
when they
strategic
reappear.
area.
So that should be dead. Sure, you hit my ship really hard, but your ship's also dead, right? Nope, I guess not. I would have liked it to have been dead, but no. And now I'm down to 3 ships, so I gotta be ready to make a jump on them. And Ford Lurker will help some in that
You have
regard.
accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Okay, that one's dead. I don't know what ship it is. And we know the flagship just launched the beacon. Where is it? Take the hits head on. That'll hopefully minimize the damage a bit. Sadly, I'm in a tight spot now. Dang it. Because I haven't got the engine... Well, now you get an engine critical hit, but it's only a temporary one. And one I can't take advantage of. And now, with this, I'm going to have to try to
The enemy
grab
has
a 4th
seized a
point.
strategic area.
That's the only problem here. And I heard them boost. So let's try and take advantage of that somehow. Because they're right close. I just don't have a spore field to hide myself just yet.
You have seized a strategic area.
Now I
The
don't have a
enemy has
spore
accumulated
field there to hide in
75% of
either.
strategic points.
Okay, I hear them moving. Sadly, yep, they are grabbing objectives. That one has plenty of health to it. So this looks like it might be a loss. I don't have enough speed to grab all the objectives, even with battle cruisers. I need to do enough damage earlier, at least get those kills.
The enemy has seized
Which
a
sadly did not
strategic
work out the
area.
best for me. Ah, that's unfortunate. I thought it was the battleship that launched the torpedoes, and that paid off poorly as a result of that. So can we at least kill the flagship? Not quite enough, but the shields can do the damage necessary. I just won't be able to deal with the one ship there behind. I won't be able to deal with the one battleship, I think. It's a big problem.
You have accumulated 50%.
And I want to say this thing dies with the fire assaults, but I don't think it will. Yeah, a little bit extra damage. Being more aware of these dang torpedoes would have helped me a ton too. Well, it's my own undoing. I talked about it before with the Mechanicus and the Novacans. I think I did. And now I am screwing up a little bit with the rushes. Because I think that would help me so much more to just outlast their torpedoes, I think. Especially with additional ships to kind of support.